Breaking news, the WNBA Executive Committee and Board of Player Reps have voted that they are opting out of the 2020 collective bargaining agreement.
The WNBA has just been hit with bombshell news that could shake up women's basketball as we know it. Caitlin Clark, the rising star who single-handedly brought record-breaking viewership to the WNBA, now faces an uncertain future, one that's tied directly to a high-stakes battle over the league's collective bargaining agreement, or CBA.
So it looked like the WNBA Players Association has opted out of the current collective bargaining agreement.
For Clark, who's helped revitalize the league's popularity, the news couldn't come at a worse time. But what exactly does this mean for her, the WNBA, and the future of women's sports? In a move that sent shockwaves through the sports world, WNBA players recently chose to opt out of their current CBA, which is set to expire at the end of the 2025 season. This decision means the players and the league have roughly a year to negotiate a new agreement. If they fail to reach a deal, a work stoppage could occur, a scenario that no one wants but may be on the horizon. For Caitlin Clark, this development couldn't be more serious. After an impressive debut season, she's become the face of the WNBA, turning even regular season games into must-watch events. But with the CBA expiring in October 2025, she now faces the risk of an interrupted season or worse, a lockout that could disrupt her career right as she's hitting her stride. The stakes for Clark are immense. A work stoppage not only affects her time on the court, but also threatens the momentum she's built within a single season. As one of the league's most marketable players, a lockout could impact her endorsements, sponsorships, and even her growing international fan base. It's a precarious moment for Clark and the league alike. Just how big has Caitlin Clark been for the WNBA? To put it simply, she's been a game changer. Clark's presence has brought unprecedented attention to the league, sparking a wave of fan enthusiasm that the WNBA hasn't seen in years. Her high-energy play, deep shooting range, and on-court rivalries have not only drawn fans, but have also kept them glued to WNBA broadcasts, which saw a massive jump in viewership this past season. And Clark's influence hasn't just boosted ratings, it's also helped the league secure a lucrative $200 million media rights deal, ensuring that WNBA games will be seen on major platforms across the country. Her impact was especially visible in her rookie season, with her team's games averaging far higher attendance and viewership than typical league averages. Clark has undeniably brought a new level of energy to the WNBA, showing that women's basketball can command a larger stage. But with her career potentially on pause if negotiations fall through, there's more at risk here than just viewership numbers. The WNBA has found a star who's not only changed the game, but has also helped elevate it to new levels of recognition. A work stoppage could jeopardize the momentum that Clark and the league have worked so hard to build. So, why did the players decide to opt out of the CBA? While it's easy to assume that money was the primary motivator, the reality is more complex. The players' demands extend beyond just higher paychecks. They're looking for a CBA that reflects their value and respects the contributions they've made to build up the league, improve working conditions, and secure fair benefits for current and future players. Caitlin Clark stands to benefit from these negotiations, but she also risks losing valuable time on the court. If a deal isn't reached by the time the current CBA expires, Clark's career trajectory could be delayed, and the potential interruption could impact her earnings and development as a player. With the WNBA's growing popularity, the stakes are high, not just for Clark, but for every athlete in the league who has contributed to this progress. If the players can secure an agreement that acknowledges their role in growing the league's visibility and revenue, it could signal a new era for the WNBA. But if negotiations fall apart, Clark and her teammates face the real possibility of sitting out a season, which could shift fan interest elsewhere and disrupt the league's recent gains. So, what exactly are the players asking for? While compensation is certainly a piece of the puzzle, the players are calling for a fairer share of the league's revenue and better working conditions overall. According to WNBPA President Nneka Ogwumike, this isn't just about increasing paychecks. It's about creating a league structure that respects the value players bring and sets them up for success both on and off the court. Ogwumike's words reflect a growing sentiment among WNBA players that they're no longer content to simply show up and play. They want a share of the revenue that their efforts have helped generate, and the acknowledgement that they are as integral to the WNBA's success as any other component. For Caitlin Clark, who's seen as the face of this new era in the league, these demands are crucial. It's not just about financial security. It's about solidifying a foundation for the future of women's basketball. The players' collective decision to opt out signals that they're prepared to negotiate for as long as it takes, even if that means a temporary work stoppage. While it's a bold stance, it's one that many feel is necessary to advance the league and ensure that its top talent, like Clark, have the support they need. Unsurprisingly, social media has been buzzing with reactions to this news. Fans, analysts, and even other athletes are chiming in with their thoughts on what a potential work stoppage could mean for Caitlin Clark and the WNBA. Some fans have voiced frustration, arguing that the league needs to pay Clark what she's worth if they want to keep her in the WNBA. Others are speculating on alternative options, with many suggesting that Clark could take her talents overseas if the WNBA can't meet player demands. The possibility of Clark moving to Europe, where top women's players can earn more and play longer seasons, has certainly sparked debate. While some fans see this as a practical move, others worry about what it could mean for the WNBA's future. Social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, have been flooded with comments like, "If the WNBA doesn't fix this, they're basically handing Caitlin over to Europe on a silver platter." It's a sentiment that reflects a real concern among fans about the league's ability to retain its top players. This wave of reactions has put the spotlight back on the WNBA's next steps and added pressure on the league to find a solution that not only keeps Clark stateside, but also addresses the broader concerns of its players. Fans know the value Clark brings, and they're not shy about making their opinions known. For Caitlin Clark, the financial implications of a work stoppage could be significant. As one of the most marketable players in the WNBA, her earning potential extends far beyond her league salary. From brand endorsements to social media partnerships, Clark has quickly become a highly sought-after figure in the sports industry. Yet, a work stoppage could pause this momentum. A hiatus in the WNBA season means fewer game appearances, reduced media exposure, and a hit to her visibility in the U.S. sports landscape. Brands are drawn to players actively competing and making headlines. And without regular games, the sponsorships that typically follow her on-court performances could be at risk. Clark's image is closely tied to her WNBA presence, and the financial rewards linked to her brand could dwindle if she's unable to stay in the spotlight. The timing here is especially important. As Clark's brand continues to grow, these are prime years for her to maximize her market potential. A stalled season not only delays her on-court career, but also affects her overall trajectory as one of the most promising names in women's sports. With a potential lockout on the horizon, the idea of Caitlin Clark exploring international leagues is gaining traction among fans and analysts. Europe, particularly leagues in countries like Russia, Turkey, and Spain, offers women basketball players opportunities for both higher pay and longer seasons compared to the WNBA. For years, top WNBA players have supplemented their incomes by playing in the EuroLeague during the WNBA offseason. Some, like Diana Taurasi and Breanna Stewart, have even chosen to play internationally full-time due to the lucrative contracts. These players often make substantially more than what they can earn in the WNBA. For Clark, the option of competing internationally could be especially appealing if negotiations don't produce the desired changes. EuroLeague women's basketball season runs from October to April, a time frame that could allow Clark to compete year-round. Beyond the financial perks, this would allow her to grow her brand on an international stage, reaching new audiences and competing with some of the world's best. If the WNBA doesn't deliver on its players' demands, Clark, and others in her position, may find that Europe offers not just an alternative, but an advantage. The situation facing the WNBA and its players could have a ripple effect throughout women's sports. Caitlin Clark's story, in particular, underscores a larger shift happening in professional women's leagues around the world. Players are demanding more, not only in terms of pay, but also in recognition and respect for the role they play in the league's success. A successful renegotiation of the WNBA's CBA would signal progress not only for women's basketball, but for professional women athletes across the board. As one of the league's most visible figures, Clark is, intentionally or not, a key player in a movement that seeks to secure a future where women's sports are recognized for their value and contribution. However, if negotiations fail, the WNBA risks losing its momentum, as well as the very players who have helped to build it. For fans and supporters of women's sports, the stakes couldn't be higher. A loss of talent to overseas leagues would mean that fans might not see their favorite players competing at home, which could impact overall support for the league. The WNBA has positioned itself as a growing platform for women's sports, but it's clear that without securing the needs of its players, its long-term future could be at risk. The WNBA's next steps will have a lasting impact, not just on Caitlin Clark, but on the league's overall trajectory. Clark has helped bring a new level of excitement to the WNBA, and the league's ability to meet player demands could determine whether it retains its top talent. The current CBA expiration in October 2025 gives both sides a year to work out their differences. But the stakes are clear. Either the WNBA addresses the players' concerns or it risks watching its brightest stars look elsewhere. For Clark, her impact on the league is undeniable. The fans who tune in for her games, the sponsorships that follow her brand, and the media coverage she draws all reflect the value she brings to the WNBA. But if the league fails to retain its top talent, the gains it has made could quickly fade. Ultimately, Caitlin Clark's situation is about more than just one player. It's about the future of women's basketball. The coming year will reveal whether the WNBA can secure a place as a long-term powerhouse in women's sports, or whether it will struggle to keep pace with a new generation of athletes with higher expectations. Fans everywhere are watching, and Clark's journey reflects a pivotal moment for women's sports. Only time will tell what path she and the WNBA ultimately take. If you've made it this far, let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.